Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee Live. I want to jump in today, talk a bit about AI and authenticity. It's a topic that's growing. There's some stuff in the news about it right now. I'm going to walk through an article about how AI is transforming small business marketing and how to use it right now. But authenticity is a topic that's always been very big in marketing, right? If you are not authentic in your marketing, you end up turning people away, or in the worst forms, you get bait and switch. We've all been victims of that, where marketing tells us one thing, we go, "Ooh, that's exciting." We purchase product, we receive the product. It turns out that product is not really what the marketing said it was, and we feel like we got cheated. We feel like it was a bait and switch. Um, Authenticity in marketing goes beyond just telling the truth, though. It also gets to a deeper level. In fact, one of the things I want to do is look at, you know, let's look at the definition of authenticity first of all. Might be a good place to start. Authenticity, the quality of being authentic. The paper should have established the authenticity of the documents before publishing them. Let's click see more. Similar, genuine, original, rightfulness, legitimacy, legality, validity. If you look at what do we mean by authenticity, and by the way, I'm just looking at Google search results here. Authenticity is the quality of being genuine or real. You might question the authenticity of your eccentric uncle's photo of a UFO. The word authenticity is the state of something being authentic or legitimate and true. I really like that definition right there. It's the state of something being authentic or legitimate and true. Well, why is authenticity so important? Well, because I would argue that authenticity is so important because of how bad being inauthentic is. Kind of have to look at the negative here to understand the positive. Being authentic, really what makes it so good and so valuable is the fact that you're not being inauthentic. You're telling the truth. You're being open and clear. You are laying out what you mean. You're doing it in a truthful, legitimate, authentic manner, meaning that whatever it is you're saying, anyone can look at it and they can get to the conclusion. It's not going to be a bait and switch. You're not going to lead them the wrong way. When you're authentic, you're not leading someone down the wrong path, unless you're authentically doing so. In which case it'd be a knowing situation with agreed upon parties, and what they do. But authenticity is really about making sure that you are portraying your brand, your product, whatever your message is, that you are portraying it in a honest, straightforward, direct manner, and the conclusions that you are presenting to people are accurate. So let me jump over to this news article here. Pop this guy up. Okay. And it's less about the article that I'm interested in, but more of a couple of the stats they brought up that I actually want to talk through. Let me just make this big enough so everyone can see it. Okay. AI is transforming small business marketing. How to use it right now. This comes from Yahoo Finance. It was put out by iStock. So what that means is this is obviously marketing in and of itself for iStock. iStock's new research offers guidance on the effective use of AI-generated images. A soft pink cloud in the middle of the city street. What's so fascinating about these AI-generated images is there's nothing groundbreaking about this image if you look at it. This is an image that could have existed at any time in human history. It's could have been created by anyone, anywhere, at any time. They just take a picture of an alley, add a cloud to it. This could have been done on a traditional medium with literally paper and paint. It could have been done digitally in any era with anywhere from paint and brush to Photoshop and everything in between. Now it's being done by AI. Really, the difference is just the prevalence. So images like this aren't anything new. Anyone could create an image like this at any time. It's not a new phenomenon. What's new is the fact that they're prevalent. It's everywhere. AI generated images are everywhere, and I've used them myself. And so you're seeing them pop up all over the place. So here's some of the conclusions that um, iStock came to. Transparency matters. Nearly 90% of people want to know if an image was created with AI. I find that really interesting. My thing is, why do you care if it was created with AI versus created by any other method? You know, we've been creating images since the dawn of humanity. I mean, you can go back and some of our earliest images are on cave walls, right? Images are not new. Created images are, I mean, there's a word there that you really need to think about: creative. We refer to images in the marketing industry as creative, right? Oh, what are the creatives? I mean, we use it as a all-encompassing term. Well, when you think about the word creative, it means that you created something, you generated something new that didn't exist. That's what art is. Art is creative. It's the creation of something new. So what I really wonder is, why does it matter whether AI did it or a normal creative? Now, you might want to say, well, we want to know the person behind it. Well, let's break this down for a moment. Transparency matters. Nearly 90% of people want to know if an image was created with AI. Why do they want to know? Why do people want to know if it was created with AI? If it wasn't created with AI, in fact, let's just go back. Hell, go back 2 years just to make it simple. Before AI was part of the conversation, any image that came, nobody cared whether someone used Photoshop versus GIMP versus any online, Canva, any online software to make it, versus a picture taken other than ownership rights, right? When it is a picture taken the same with a camera, that's its own art form. The artist takes the credit for that because that is their product. And so you'll always know when an image is a actual picture shot with a camera as a rule, because the artist wants to take credit for that. So you'll know that. So really, when you're looking at if an image was created with AI, you're really saying, was there a human behind the production process, whatever the technology may have been, whether it have been a camera, whether it have been Photoshop, whether it have been, other software, or was there an AI behind that? Now, interestingly, even if there's an AI behind it, there's still a human behind that who prompts it. Prompt engineering, you can make the argument, is like when it comes to generate images, is very similar to ISO settings, shutter speeds, aperture values, things like that, right? It's the tools of the trade. The camera, in this case, is a piece of software that creates images. It's an AI, right? Versus the camera traditionally was a film camera way back when, then became digital. And then in the middle, you have software, everything that's been software generated, right? People making this stuff through Photoshop, basically, is the other area. And now AI is doing it. So 90% of people want to know if it was created with AI. Why? My thought is, while I don't want to devalue the work of artists, whether or not an image was created by AI or not, how does it actually matter? I'm getting an error saying that I'm having trouble streaming on LinkedIn. Sorry, bear with me for a second. I'll just take a look at this. I'll find out if I'm still live there. Hello, LinkedIn. Can you find this? Let's pull that down and see if LinkedIn updates. Okay, so LinkedIn is streaming a little behind me, so I'm actually not sure if it's caught up yet or not. So it's going to be a little bit of a inception here as it comes through, because I'm looking at the past. Let me see if I can share that. Okay. Well, it looks like, okay, it looks like LinkedIn's still running. I'm not sure what's going on there. Sorry about that. Just want to make sure that the streaming was still functioning properly. Yeah, okay. It's caught up on LinkedIn. It's running. Sorry about that. Okay. Um, so people want to know if an image was created with AI. My guess why they care is it's 90% of people. 90% of people don't care. They have no reason to care. They want to know because I think AI bothers them. AI scares them. They're not quite sure how to frame it yet. And they also, I think what it is here's what this is. I know where this is coming from. 90% of people want to know if an image was created with AI. And the reason is it's this image that threw off my thinking. They're not caring about images like this. They're caring about realistic looking images. And people want to know whether or not it's faked. What's the danger of AI image generation? It's the same as Photoshop image editing always was, creating realistic looking images that are not real. They, deep fakes, that kind of concept. But even in a more simple manner, I can see where this matters actually. You show a picture of a neighborhood and you can show it in any state you want it, positive, negative, up, down, people rioting, people partying, whatever it may be. People want to know if that's real or not. So it's really not a question of if it's made by AI. They want to know if it's real. That's I think what this is really about, and why this is coming to the forefront now is, well, anyone could edit images before. It took a skill. It took a level of skill to use, say, Photoshop to go manipulate an image convincingly enough to make it look real, to where you could then put it out there and trick people with it. With AI, anybody who does some basic prompt engineering can make it work. And even if they're not good at prompt engineering, can probably make it happen due to the power of AI. So that's what this is. 90% of people, it's not that they want to know if it was created with AI. They want to know if it's real, if what they're looking at is authentic, if it's real. Social media trust crisis. 82% of people distrust social media, highlighting the challenge for small businesses connect. Less interested in the challenges for small businesses, but this is interesting. 82% of people distrust social media. I didn't know that this number, and this is based on their study. I haven't looked at the specific study to look at the methodology or anything else. But let's just take it at face value and assume it's correct that 82% of people distrust social media. That's something I assumed. That's something I figured. I have a hefty distrust of social media. I think everyone does. One of the reasons, in fact, that's one of the primary reasons that I decided to make my podcast live. By being 100% live, unedited, it's completely authentic. You see it as it is. When I had an issue there where somebody popped up and said that it wasn't streaming properly on LinkedIn, this is the downside. You had to wait for a minute while I confirmed, and you saw that occurring where that wasn't edited out. But the beauty is, I'm not editing out content either to change the meaning of what I'm saying. Another big one with social media is everyone's on it and you can post anything. There's no limits, there's no rules to what can and can't be posted. I mean, sure, you have the rules of the platforms, this and that, and you can get canceled, yada yada yada. But there's no actual rules on what can and can't be said, can and can't be published, right? And so you don't know if that's accurate. I mean, hell, even every word that comes out of my mouth, you have to go, okay, does this guy know what he's talking about, or is he full of shit? And that's something where you then need to authenticate, coming back to authentication, what people are saying, what I'm saying, what anyone on social media is saying. So 82% of people distrusting social media I completely believe that. I mean, I don't know if that number is 100% precise, but the point is, I believe it. People have a hefty distrust of social media, I think for very good reason. And once again, that's one of the reasons why I live stream. Keeps it authentic. And finally, authenticity is key. 98% agree that authentic images or videos are crucial for building trust. Where I first ran into this authenticity is key concept was actually back during my undergrad. We're going back 20 years now. It's a little more, 22 years now. When I was in my undergrad, in the final year of my undergrad at San Jose State University, I was studying communication studies with a minor in corporate crisis management. I did a build your own minor, and I wanted to do corporate crisis management. There was no actual minor for that. So I did a number of courses in entrepreneurship, mass media law, and ethics. And then I took the first ever course offered on the west coast of the US, third ever course offered in the United States at a graduate level, actually, while still an undergrad on crisis management. I think I've mentioned that before. But one of the big things that I learned in crisis management was the perception of authenticity was one of the most valuable components and one of the most important components to success in crisis management. In my research, I kind of focus in on early response and apologia as being the two key predictors to successful crisis management, taking an approach of apology and then early response, getting out before anyone else, even if your original message is, we don't know yet what's going on, but here's what we are doing, and here's when, how, and where we will update you, is so valuable because in a crisis you have a void of information, and voids fill their vacuums, and vacuums actually fill. And in this day and age, in our 24-hour news cycle and social media, those voids fill so quickly it's not funny. So if you're not filling the void from your company with your messaging, someone else is going to fill it, and they're never going to be on your side the way you will be. So early response and apologia. Now in apologia, as you dive into it, what the research all showed at the time was it was less about what the apology was as it was being perceived as sincere. Perceived as sincere. Now, a lot of people look at that and go, well, no, an apology should be sincere. Well, yes, it should be. But what about when it's kind of hard to sincerely apologize because either A, you don't know what you did wrong, B, you didn't actually do anything wrong, or C, it was a non-human occurrence that caused the issue, then apologizing becomes very tricky. If a robot hits someone over the head, and I say, oh, I'm so sorry that happened, well, is that authentic? Is there, sincerity in that? It was a robot that did. I don't control the robot. Should the owner of the robot, etc. Right? And so it's really about the perception of authenticity and the belief of sincerity that matters. So coming back to here, authenticity is key. 98% agree that authentic images and videos are crucial for building trust. This was a bad question on this research. And why I say that is it says 98% agree that authentic images and videos are crucial for building trust. No, they aren't crucial for building trust. I completely disagree with this. And here's why. You can have videos that are not authentic, that are very, very intentionally, very openly not authentic. They can still be used for building trust as long as you are authentic and honest about them, right? So if an authentic image is crucial for building trust, well, what does that mean? You have to use a camera? We've been photoshopping images for the past 15, 20 years now with it being an issue on building trust. So the authenticity part here, once again, I think comes back to at least people knowing whether or not it's real. It's not actually about authentic images are crucial for building trust. It's knowing what the image is. You can have a completely inauthentic image, meaning, completely created from your imagination that tells a story about something that can be used for trust building, as long as people are aware of what it is that you're doing. So once again, 98% agree that authentic images or video are crucial for building trust. I think it's the actual reality behind this is that 98% of people believe, and I think it's really, you need these quotes, it's air quotes, it's authentic. People need to be okay with it. Doesn't mean the image has to be authentic. It means their perception of the image has to be authentic. So if it's a fake, unauthentic image, they at least have to know that and have a authentic reaction to the inauthenticity, if you will. So authenticity, I would argue, isn't necessarily key. It's the perception of authenticity. And how do you maintain that? Be honest, open, use integrity, right? Honesty, integrity, transparency, respect, godliness. That's how you achieve this. It's not about the image itself truly being authentic. It's your portrayal of it. Jumping into their article, I didn't want to spend too much time on this. Mostly want to look at those stats, but blah, 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 blah. 30,000 adults, 25 countries, and understand the impact for small businesses of using generative AI visuals in their marketing. A key finding is that people expect transparency, with nearly 90% of people saying they want to know whether an image has been created using AI. Once again, they don't care if it was created using AI. They want to know if the image is real or not. If you take an image generated by AI, one generated by Photoshop, and one generated by a camera, and they're all the exact same thing, put side by side by side. Now, let's say you take a picture of the Sistine Chapel with a camera. You then use Photoshop or Lightroom to doctor up a picture of the Sistine Chapel. You then go to an AI and tell it to create a picture of the Sistine Chapel. At the end of the day, nobody cares which one's which. Now, some people, artists might go, oh, well, the photographer obviously is the best one, the natural, look at the light bulb. Put all that aside. The average person doesn't care which image is which because they're all just of the Sistine Chapel. Where they really care about knowing whether or not you're using AI is whether or not what you're portraying is real. You're doing a product image, let's say, you're a small business, you make widgets. Take a camera image of your widget. Here's my widget. And then you take Photoshop and or whatever software you want to use, and you design a digital version of your product, you turn it into an image. Or you take an AI and you tell your AI what your product is, and you have it create an image. That image looks the same, all three images, and nobody's going to care which one's AI generated, which one's Photoshop, which one's taken with a camera. Where they'll care is if the AI one shows off features, let's say, of your widget that may not exist. Well, because now you're not being authentic anymore, right? So it's not about the medium, it's about the result. It's about being open and honest with people. Social media can't be trusted to be real or accurate, 82%. Agreed. You have no clue. This brings me back to something my grandpa used to say back when I was a kid. And it was the joke. And he used to tell us, if it's on TV, it must be true. And what it is, he grew up, way back when he was a World War II veteran. And TV was brand new in his lifetime, went from radio to television. And the thing was, TV was a very limited medium. It was small. There was only a couple of channels, this and that. And the truth was, if it was on TV in the early days, it was most likely true because TV was a brand new thing and it was on their line. They were telling the truth on the medium. Well, it became the joke because by the time he was, an adult and retired, senior, etc., the crap on TV was fake. But he'd still joke around. If it's on TV, it must be true. Well, the same concept applies to the internet, social media. When it's on the internet, if it's on the internet, it must be true is obviously satirical because there's nothing online that you can just assume is accurate. There's very little trust available online, and it is due to the lack of authenticity. So, yeah, this is something you're contending against in your marketing. Social media can't be trusted to be real or accurate. I don't trust anything I read or hear on social media, 50%. Can't blame them. Without vetting it, without verifying it, you really can't trust anything. That doesn't mean you have to run around saying everything's fake online, but you don't want to just give it blind trust either. And then I don't trust in-app shopping features on social media. That's a area 60%. That used to be closer to 99%. So we're seeing a movement there, and I think through time, my kids, by the time they're on social media, which hopefully won't be till their 30s, but I don't want them to have cell phones for quite a while yet, specifically to avoid social media. But once they are there, they're going to trust this stuff. They're going to grow up with it. They're going to know this stuff. And this number is going to go from 60 down to like 20. It's going to become the old people, the neo-Luddites who don't trust it anymore. 82% of people are expressing distrust in social media content. I say as they should. Businesses across all industries are grappling with the integration of generative AI into their creative workflow. And it's crucial for businesses to understand both the risks and rewards here. Sure. Visual GPS insights, blah, 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 blah. Okay, here we go. iSox visual content experts have identified several crucial questions that business owners should consider when incorporating AI-generated images into their marketing. Are AI-generated images the right assets for this project? 98% of consumers agree that authentic images and videos are pivotal in establishing trust. So once again, I think there's no disconnect between AI and authentic imagery. Used properly, AI can make perfectly authentic imagery. And nobody's going to have an issue with that. As long as you're not misleading people with your AI generated imagery, this is less of a concern than I think they're trying to make it out to be. Will AI generated images help my business stand out? Once again, you can remove AI generated here. And really, here's the question. Will images help my business stand out? Yes, they will. People are very visual. Everyone knows this is a cornerstone of marketing, that images, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's a cornerstone of our reality. Yes, images will help your business stand out. The AI part doesn't matter. When should I label AI generated imagery? This is an interesting question. As of right now, there's no legal standards to this, nor have any unofficial standards that at least that I'm aware of that people are following as a whole popped up. So I've taken a simple approach to labeling AI generated imagery, where I've created AI images myself. I've tried to cite that. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, if we go to LinkedIn, my white paper, I created an AI image for it. Let me say something here. If I'm not mistaken, I listed it as such. So this image at the top of my white paper on AI is an AI generated image. I then personally tweaked it afterwards in Photoshop, but it's an AI generated image. So I wrote photo generated using Amazon Titan image generator G1V1. That was the image generator I used. I did this inside of Amazon Bedrock through AWS. I don't know how you're supposed to actually cite AI images yet, so this is what I did. Photo generated using Amazon Titan generator G1V1. I don't know if I should have put a date. I don't know if I should have put that I'm the one who generated it, etc. I don't care if anyone else takes this image and uses it. It's, I just don't, it doesn't matter to me. So I cited it. Do I think I had to do that? No, I just did it because it's still an unknown territory, right? Right now, we don't know. So transparency is the key, especially if authenticity is a part of your online strategy. Use images and videos showing real people in real places to connect with your audience. Clearly label AI generated content to avoid your audience feeling misled. Once again, I think this is contextual, right? Image and video showing real people in real places to connect with your audience. Just because the image is generated with AI, does that make it any less real people in real places if you an AI generated image that shows what look like real people in real places? When you think about it, when you take a picture with a camera, it's no longer real people in real places. It's now the image thereof, especially once you start editing it. You go into Photoshop and you can create fake people in fake places everywhere. And with AI, it's even easier to do so. My thought is, if you are showing these people, these quote unquote real people in real places that are AI generated, as long as it's a real context with real looking people, why does it matter whether or not people know it was generated from AI? If I'm, heck, I take a picture of my coffee shop, right? Let's say I have a local coffee shop. I want to do some local marketing for it. I take a picture of my coffee shop. And I have a patio up front with some tables and chairs. And I take that picture and I go, I want to put this on social, promote people coming and hanging out at my coffee shop, except that there was no one sitting here when I took the picture, but the lighting outside was beautiful. It was a great time to get the shot. I then take that image, I upload it into an image generator, and I tell the AI, please add people to this. And the AI goes ahead and adds people to it. Do I need to tell people that I added people to the image? It's still an authentic image. Excuse me just a second. I do want to take this. Hello? Huh. Yes, no problem at all, but I'm in the middle of a stream. No problem. I just said, hang on, I gotta take this and muted myself. All right, love you. Bye. Apologies, that was the wife. Pick up my daughter from school today because grandpa's busy. Um, so if you add AI generated people into a real image of your coffee shop, so it looks like there's a couple people sitting down having coffee because it enhances the look of your image, is there a need to clearly label that as AI generated content? Are you going to really make your audience feel misled because you added, say, 3 or 4 people sitting down in front of a coffee shop having a cup of coffee to an image? I guarantee you there's been 100 times that coffee shop's had 3 or 4 people sitting down having a cup of coffee in front. Are you misleading people? So I think the bigger question here isn't, is your audience feeling misled? Are you misleading them? No, you're not. You're just putting some people into a picture. I don't think there's a need to label that. But at the same time, if you have an AI generated image of your same coffee shop and you add, a group of people there with their fancy cars, let's say all parked in front, and you put that out, now you can be misleading. People might be going, oh, look at all these fancy, people bring their fancy cars to this coffee shop, and maybe they don't. That could be misleading. I think there's a lot where it's going to come back to the way it's being used, the creator, and a lot of it's we're going to either need, there's either going to be standards in place that lay it out that if X, then Y. If AI was used, then it must be labeled, right? But once again, what about Photoshop? We've been doing Photoshop images forever now, and we haven't been doing that with it. I think a lot of it comes down to just the individual integrity. Are you misleading your audience by not labeling something as AI? If it's a case where you are, then I think you damned well better let people know. If it's not, if it's just a case where you're effectively using AI in place of Photoshop to increase the quality of your image, is there a need to label that? I don't feel there is, but once again, we'll see what standards do shake out. Are the AI generated images legally safe for marketing materials? That's an interesting one. AI have been trained on tons of proprietary data. There's lawsuits all over the place right now going, hey, you took our data for your AI, and AI is creating new. It's generative, right? It's generating something new, but it's doing it based on stuff it already has that may be protected. So when you generate images using AI, there is an inherent risk that the AI is going to generate something that uses protected assets or protected elements, protected things that you cannot legally use. And that's the responsibility of the AI user to be very careful there. For example, just a very simple example, if I have an AI and I tell it, hey, make me a picture of a jogger running down the street because I want to show off my jogging hat. I put my jogging hat on him, right? And that AI decides to put Nike shoes on that jogger, and I use that image. Having those Nike shoes without permission from the brand Nike to use it for my marketing could get me into legal trouble. Now you might say, oh, well, an AI is not going to give it Nike shoes. It might, very well might. I guarantee you AIs know that Nike's out there, and I guarantee you could probably convince one to give you a picture with Nike shoes. You can get yourself into trouble. So what they're saying is up for commercially safe AI image generators. Now, obviously, this is put out by ISOC, so they would want you to go use theirs. But here's the bigger one. You are responsible for the content that you put out. And so you better make sure that whatever it is you're doing, you have the rights to do it because you will be the one facing the consequences. So are they legally safe? Yes and no. It all depends on what the image is that was created, what AI you were using, etc. And you may not know. I am not a lawyer. If you're not sure, that's generally your best bet. So authenticity and AI. It's going to be a lot of conversations around this. Nothing's settled yet, but kind of the high level points here. People don't trust social, nor should they. So I think that's totally a fine thing. And people are scared of AI, and they're scared because they don't know what's real or not. Remember the picture of the Pope in the big puffy jacket? That's where this 90% of people, if I go back, what was it again? That's where this, here we go, 90% of people want to know if an image was created with AI. They want to know if the Pope wearing the puffy jacket's real. Did the Pope actually do that? They don't care about either A, sci-fi looking stuff, knowing whether or not it was an artist or an AI, because the average person just doesn't actually care about that. And B, they don't care if you're using AI to alter or to enhance an image, similar in manner as you would through typical image editing. I think really the key here is they want to know whether or not they can believe the image. And when it's labeled AI, and here's where labeling is going to run into an issue. You label it as AI, and people go, oh, well, I just don't believe the image anymore. It's all fake. What if you use AI just to do the basic image modification you would do using Photoshop normally, right? You had AI, clean up some of the shadows and, take some trash off the ground in your image, let's say. Well, now you label it as AI and people go, oh, well, it's not real. Is that fair? I don't know. We're going to have to see how it all shakes out. But at the end of the day, what really matters is small businesses, not just small businesses, anyone. You need quote unquote, air quote, authentic messaging, authentic images and videos to build trust. I believe those can be generated fully with AI. I don't even think you have to necessarily disclose that as long as the end result tells an authentic story. I'm okay with it. So we'll see how the law shakes out. We'll see how the industry shakes out. I'm more than happy. If the industry, the marketing industry decides that here's what we're going to do and everyone's going to label like such and such, whatever, I'll go along with it. I'm not going to be a rebel, but at the same time, I don't see a need for it. What I do see a need for, though, is for brands to maintain that honesty, that integrity, and be authentic. And the truth is, if they're not authentic, they're going to fail. And so authenticity is so valuable in business and in life at all times, whether it comes from AI, whether it comes from a camera, whether it comes from Photoshop, whether it comes straight from someone's head, who knows where, no matter where things come from, portray them authentically to the point that makes sense. And where you're going to win trust is by truly being authentic, whether you're using AI or not. So that's what I want to chat about today. I hope everybody enjoyed this. Please feel free to leave any questions down in the comments, and happy to address those. And hope everybody has a wonderful day. God bless, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.